Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's HBMA Live. I am so excited this morning to be joined here with Michael Johnson. Michael is going to be presenting at the HBMA Fall Conference this year. Everybody join me in welcoming him. And Michael, thanks for being with us today.
Absolutely happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Michael, can you tell us a little bit about your background? Help us get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So currently I'm the CEO of Practice Max, which has been a long-time HBMA member. Practice Max has been in the medical billing space for now over 25 years. We have offices in a few states. Some of you have known my predecessor, Bill Carnes. I took his place as CEO just over a year ago, but have been with Practice Max for many years before that, about 10 years. Served in a variety of capacities, including as our Senior Vice President of Operations, and before that, our Vice President of Global Strategy. Prior to joining Practice Max, I was in other industries. I was actually the CEO of a construction company prior to joining Practice Max, and before that, I ran a nonprofit advocacy group very similar to HBMA for the Hotel Association, and was the representative of the Utah Hotel Association as the executive director there. So I've had a diverse background leading me to Practice Max, but like I said, I've been here for about 10 years and have really enjoyed getting into and being a part of the medical billing space.
Wonderful, exciting. That is a very varied background, but gives you a lot of different experiences to pull and augment your new role. Can you tell us a little bit about, just to get people excited about our fall session, tell us a little bit about what you'll be speaking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the biggest challenges that we're all facing right now is employment, right? We have rising costs of employment, and we have a harder and harder time keeping and retaining the people that make our businesses operate, that really make the cogs turn. And so we're going to spend a little bit of time in the session talking about how do we navigate the current employment environment, and then specifically, how can we augment our employment with the right types of external resources, and how can we use those resources effectively? So we're talking about third-party billing companies and others that can be utilized in a way to augment our existing staff and make sure that we have the resources needed to deliver for our clients. So that's the crux of what we're going to talk about is understanding the way we can work with our existing staff, as well as how we can augment that staff with additional resources to try and maximize our performance.
Exciting. Yeah, that's in the labor market that we have right now, that is definitely a challenge to figure
Absolutely.
out how to do more with what you have, because it's hard to find people, and you definitely want to keep them once you invest all the time and effort and energy into training them and making them great. What are some of the takeaways that you hope attendees take back to their offices with them from your session?
Great question. Yeah, I think there's a few things. Number one is we have to think differently about staffing our billing companies. The world has changed, and if we don't, we are not going to be successful. It's going to be harder and harder to retain talent at reasonable costs as prices or labor wages continue to go up. And so one is we just have to be aware of the change and be prepared to make changes to adapt. Number two is within the possibility of changes, we have to look at things like remote labor within the United States. We have to look at remote labor outside of the United States. We have to look at third parties. We have to look at both third-party outsourcing, as well as I'm going to introduce and talk a lot about staff augmentation and offshore staffing, which is a little bit different than outsourcing. And so we're going to talk about how each of those is a tool in the belt And what you as an operator need to do is establish which of those tools makes the most sense for you and your organization. And so I really want to make sure that people understand the tools, walk away with a clear understanding of what's available to them. And then third, it's really understanding how to make those tools be effective. Many of us have outsourced unsuccessfully. Many of us have used offshore staff unsuccessfully. So what is the difference between using it unsuccessfully and using it successfully? And so we're going to dive into some key steps and strategies to make that augmented staff or offshore partner really an effective tool in your tool belt, because nothing is more frustrating than having gone through the process and offshoring or using offshore staff and having it fail. All that does is make your existing workforce more frustrated, puts a lot of pressure on them. And so what are the things that we can do to make sure that it's actually successful?
Perfect. Well, I'm excited for this session. That's always something, the labor market and the industry is always changing. And so looking at it from new perspectives and getting new ideas and learning how to sharpen all of those skills is something I think we can all benefit from. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think so. I think in many ways, not for every billing company, but for most billing companies, it's actually a key differentiator between success and kind of struggling in the mire, right? And I think it can be a real help to particularly those billing companies that are trying to grow, that are trying to expand their operations, take on more clients. It can be a key part of their success.
Exciting. All right. Well, Michael, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day today to give us a little sneak peek into your session this fall. And I'm looking forward to meeting you live in person this fall.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. We'll see you in St. Louis.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Take care.
All right, thank you.
Bye.